leaning into the assurance that the Most High is not a far-off idea, but the living presence, active, vibrant, moving through us right now. The Most High is not static, but, as we say, a verb transitive, alive, working in and through all who are willing. So, as we begin, we pause to acknowledge the good work already prepared in each of us, the clarity and wisdom flowing through the one who presents today, and the promise, as written in Philippians 1:6, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. With pure hearts, we simply say, be here with us, guide us, make us aware of your movement in this moment, and now we step forward into the insurance. Welcome, welcome. I am one of your hosts, Kasubel, and I have that's to my right, I believe, the lovely Sheba.
Hello, everyone.
How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm so excited for this message as we continue to kind of explore different topics. You know, the preparation and the knowing of being so fortunate to have something flow through you and talk to people about it, your thoughts. It's exciting to me now. So I'm enjoying that.
That's good. That's good.
I'm enjoying that.
Yes, this is our 12th episode, I believe, on the recording. So yeah. Very happy to stay consistent. I kind of like the flow that's going on so far.
Yeah. So, everything is going, part of our name is perfecting peace. And it's interesting, even, just talking about what's going on with me spiritually is I'm really learning how to be patient. I'm really learning how to, wait on the Lord, so to speak, and wait for the manifestations of promises. And so I think that's why, perfecting peace or perfecting your waiting is so important.
Yeah, it's interesting because, there is that portion of quote unquote waiting, but it's really preparing. Yes. I see, right? Because you have to get over through the feelings of disappointment or not getting what you want, et cetera, et cetera. And to get what you want, you really have to prepare for that.
Man, you just took me on a tangent because I was going to say waiting seems like such an inactive thing to do.
No.
So passive and preparing, although the same things might happen to you externally, preparing, you're more involved in it. So yeah, I like that. I never thought of it that way, but that already took my head on a whole turn.
Yep.
Yeah.
But welcome again. I'm glad to have, of course, Sheba. She's going to be presenting today toward today's message. And it's very interesting. She prepares them. I have not necessarily the notion of what she's going to say. So it's always a surprise to me as well. So I'll be taking my notes ready for the discussion. And
we'll see what we have ready for us. So we're going to go ahead into that scripture reading.
And that scripture reading is Philippians 1-6. I will be reading the King James Version, as you know. And Philippians 1:6 says, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Again, Philippians 1:6, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. Sometimes I want to say a sermon, but I'm going to let you do it today.
That's the same thing I was thinking when you were talking about your welcome message, man. I was going to go on a whole thing about waiting. Because that's an art of waiting. That's an art in timing. That's an art in following something that you don't really know the invisible, what's really happening on the background. And somehow you have to have enough faith and patience and self-restraint to know which part you're preparing for and which part you're waiting. I'm going to save that for the discussion.
Yeah, let's save for discussion because I don't want to jump into it.
All right.
Well, today's title, as you see on the screen, And for the listening audience, today's title is Inappropriate Laughter, the story of Sarah. Again, the title of today's message is Inappropriate Laughter, the story of Sarah.
So I had so many titles for this, and I'm just going to say all of them. I was going to say, Don't Laugh at God, When Laughter Meets the Divine, Sarah's story of faith and doubt. In Genesis 18:12, it says, So Sarah laughed to herself, and she thought, After I'm worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have this pleasure? Girl, you're not going to believe what just happened at my house. I'm literally shaking. No, nobody died or anything like that. It's worse than that. I think I just laughed at God, like literally laughed at the Almighty out loud. What do you mean? What happened? Okay, so you know how Abraham is always having these random people show up at our tent, right? Well, today 3 men came by and he goes into full hospitality mode. You know how he gets. Right, exactly. Running around like we're hosting royalty, telling me to make bread, slaughter the fatted calf. I'm thinking, here we go again with Abraham and his important guests. But girl, these weren't just any men. So I'm in the tent, minding my own business when I hear one of them say, and I'm not making this up, Sarah's going to have a baby next year. Exactly, that's what I said. Well, not said, I laughed. I couldn't help it. I'm here, 90 years old, Abraham is 100, and this stranger is talking about me having a baby like I'm some young girl in her 20s. What do you mean? Was it really that funny? Girl, have you seen me lately? Everything creaks when I move. My back hurts. Don't even get me started on what childbirth would do to this ancient body. I know. I probably shouldn't have laughed, but come on. And you know what the real crazy part is? This man, I'm starting to think wasn't just any man. He heard me laugh from inside the tent and asked Abraham, why did Sarah laugh? Right. How did he even know I laughed? And when he said something that gave me chills, is anything too hard for the Lord? You're asking if I believe it could happen? I don't know. Part of me wants to, but Abraham has been talking about this promise for decades. 25 years I've been hearing about how we're going to have descendants like stars, and here I am barren as the day we left Earth. Don't even get me started on Abraham. You know what he did 10 years ago? He basically gave me to Pharaoh, calling me his sister. And then there was a whole mess with Hagar. Listen, I need to go. Abraham is giving me those looks, and I think I need to process all of this. But I'm just telling you today, after everything I've been through, all the waiting, all the doubt, all the mistakes with Hagar, all the times I've questioned his promise, what about my story? You know that all the things I've been through, right? So I was imagining Sarah coming out of the tent, talking to her friend, and describing to her the events that made her laugh so inappropriately. Now, before we dive into Sarah's full story, let me show you some examples of inappropriate laughter. I know I've been in a situation where I was in a place and I just start bust out laughing. I don't know why. I've even done it at a funeral. So I'm going to show you this story that I thought was a little funny just to go to. So in this video, I thought this was like a whole YouTube thing about people laughing inappropriately. And in this video, there is honestly, they didn't say what language he was speaking. It sounded like he was speaking French. But, you know, there's serious moments that make us, you know, our brains betray us. Like you can't start laughing, whether it's an interview of unfortunate people or a live news broadcast or a tragic incident. The more inappropriate it is to laugh, the harder it becomes to hold it in. So in this story, the host didn't meet the guests beforehand. Guests were there talking about their medical procedures gone wrong from personal experience. The moment one guest with vocal cord damage began to speak, everything started to go downhill. The host couldn't control his laughter, even when the guest brought up deeply personal, painful experiences. So I'm just going to play a little clip here. And it's so funny because the whole audience, nobody else is laughing but this guy. So in that interview, he faced pretty serious consequences. The show was shut down permanently because sometimes the body has a mind of its own, and inappropriate laughter can cost you everything. Sarah just had her inappropriate laughter moment with the creator of the universe. But here's what makes her story beautiful. God didn't cancel her because of it. Instead, he transformed her laughter from mockery to joy. So we're going to kind of go through the story of Sarah because I thought it was so very interesting. And even the way the Bible tells it, it's almost like a little novella, to be honest with you. So we're going to go through the story of Sarah, and then hopefully you learn something in addition to getting some really amazing lessons in the story. So the story of Sarah begins with a call that changed history. God spoke to Abram in Haran, asking him to leave his home, his people, and his father's household, and to follow him to a land he would show. So, Kasubel, can you read Genesis 12, 1 through 4?
Genesis 12, starting with verse 1. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curseth thee, and in thee shall the families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed, and as the Lord spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran.
So as far as I can tell, when Sarah met Abraham, they were like 20 and 25 years old. So when God gave him the promise, he was about actually like 65 to 75 years old. So they had actually been together for a little while by the time he got this promise. So God must have known already at this point, I mean, he's all knowing, right? That Sarah was barren. Because I'm pretty sure it doesn't take years and years and years to produce your first child, right? So Abraham obeyed, and when he reached Canaan, God appeared again, speaking a promise not only to him, but his future descendants. So now he's already promised him a land. Now he's promises, if you could read Genesis 12 through 7. 12:7, I mean.
And in verse 7 it says, And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him.
But their journey was not without trials. When famine came, Abraham and Sarai, their names have not been changed yet, traveled down to Egypt. Fearing for his life because of Sarah's beauty, Abram asked her to say that she was his sister. Genesis 12, 10 through 12.
And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass that he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said to Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that thou art fair woman to look upon. Mm-hmm. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me.
So he's like fearing for his life. I mean, the drama is going to be like nonstop. And I didn't put this all in here, but if you hear the end of that story, basically Pharaoh takes Sarai into his household. I don't know, yada, yada, yada. And God sends him plagues to Egypt, to the point that he's like, what is going on here? Bring me this guy so I can find out why all of these bad things are happening in my country. Okay? And even then, God protected them. And after they returned to the land, so Abraham's already showing, I mean, he's been told these promises. I don't know how God was talking to him and in what way, but he's already been showing these promises, but they're going through it. I didn't even include the parts about Lot, but even then God protected them. And after they returned to the land, God renewed his promise, and he told Abraham to lift his eyes and look north and south, east and west, promising land and offspring beyond number. Genesis 13:14 through 16.
Genesis 14 says, And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, Lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art, northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee will I give it, and to thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered.
That's some pretty big promises. Still years passed, Abram grew restless, wondering if his servant would inherit everything. But God came to him in a vision, saying not to be afraid. Abram believed God's word, and it was credited to him as righteousness. Genesis 15:1 through 6.
After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield, and thy exceedingly great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness.
I mean, Sarah must have been already laughing, yet Sarah struggled with waiting. Now we have the sand and we have the stars. Yet Sarah struggled with waiting. In her pain, she gave her servant Hagar to Abram, hoping to build a family through her. Hagar conceived, but it was brought jealousy and conflict into their home. Genesis 16:1 through 4.
Now Sarai, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaiden, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into thy maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when he saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes.
I mean, this is happening when Sarai is 75 at this point, and Abraham is 85. So, I mean, they're saying she hasn't been patient, but it seems like she was pretty patient. 30 years later, God appeared again, renewing his covenant. This time, he changed Abram's name to Abraham, father of many nations, sealing his promise forever. Genesis 17:1 through 5.
And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, the Lord appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me, and be thou perfect. And I will make my covenant between me and thee, and will multiply thee exceedingly. And Abraham fell on his face, and God talked with him, saying, As for me, behold, my covenant is with thee, and thou shalt be a father of many nations. Neither shall thy name any more be called Abram, but thy name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made thee. And I will make thee exceedingly fruitful, and I will make nations of thee, and kings shall come out of thee.
And God also spoke to Sarai, and he gave her a new name, Sarah, princess of nations. Sarah, princess of nations, and declared that kings and peoples would come through her. Abraham laughed at the thought of a child born to a man of 100 and a woman of 90. But God's word stood sure. Read Genesis 17:15 through 17.
And God said unto Abraham, As for Sarai thy wife, thou shalt not call her Sarai, but Sarah shall her name be. And I will bless her, and give thee a son also of her. Yea, I will bless her, and she shall be a mother of nations. Kings of people shall be of her. Then Abraham fell upon his face and laughed, and said in his heart, Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah, that is 99 years old, bear?
And one afternoon, Abraham sat by his tent with 3 visitors appeared. He hurried to serve them water, rest, bread, and meat, showing great hospitality. Read Genesis 18, 1 through 8.
And the Lord appeared unto him in the plains of Mamre, and he sat in the tent door in the heat of the day. And he lifted up his eyes and looked, and lo, 3 men stood by him. And when he saw them, he ran to meet them from the tent door, and bowed himself toward them, and said, My Lord, if now I have found favor in thy sight, pass not away. I pray thee from thy servant, let a little water, I pray you, be fetched, and wash your feet, and rest yourselves under the tree. And I will fetch a morsel of bread, and comfort ye your hearts. After that ye shall pass on. For therefore are ye come to your servant. And they said, So do as thou hast said. When Abraham hastened into the tent unto Sarah, and said, Make ready quickly 3 measures of fine meal, knead it, and make cakes upon the hearth. And Abraham ran into the herd, and fetched a calf, tender and good, and gave it to a young man, and he hastened to dress it. And he took butter and milk and calf which he had dressed, and set it before them, and stood by them under the tree, and they did eat.
Then came the promise. Now, at this point, as far as I can tell, God has promised them kind of 3 times already, okay, even changing their name. Your wife, Sarah, will have a son. Sarah, listening at the tent door, laughed to herself at the thought. Genesis 18, 9 through 12.
And they said unto him, Where is Sarah thy wife? And he said, Behold, in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door which was behind him. Now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of women. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself, saying, After I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being old also?
But the Lord said, Genesis 18, 13 through 14.
And the Lord said unto Abraham, Wherefore did Sarah laugh, saying, Shall I of a surety bear a child which am old? Is anything too hard for the Lord? At the appointed time I will return unto thee according to the time of life, and Sarah will have a son.
So, there's many lessons to take from this story. Thank you, Kasubel, for reading those points for me. I felt like the Bible couldn't say it any better. I mean, I missed even other parts that I could have included in their very wild ride. But what I came up with is 4 major don'ts. 4 major don'ts when God is fulfilling his promises. So don't number 1. Don't underestimate collateral benefits. We often hear about collateral damage, the unintended harm that happens when something goes wrong, but Sarah's story teaches us about collateral benefits, the unexpected blessings that overflow to us when God blesses someone else. Remember, the promises of descendants was given to Abraham, not directly to Sarah. She wasn't the primary recipient, but she experienced the collateral benefits of being connected to someone God had blessed. It's like when your mom wins the lottery and shares the winnings with you. You didn't buy the ticket, but you get to enjoy the blessings because of your relationship. This teaches us to be careful about the people we surround ourselves with, but for a positive reason. When you're connected to people of faith, people God is blessing. People who are walking in his promises, their blessings can unexpectedly overflow to you. Sarah didn't have Abraham's level of faith, but she reaped the rewards. She reaped the rewards of his relationship with God. Sometimes God's blessings flow to us through our spouse's prayers, our grandmother's faith, our pastor's intercession, our friend's breakthrough. Don't underestimate the power of being in the right proximity when God moves. Sarah's faith was shaky, but her position was perfect. She was married to the man God had chosen to bless. Number 2. Don't take matters into your own hands. The Hagar situation is a masterclass in what happens when impatience leads to intervention. Sarah thought she was being helpful, practical, even spiritual. God promised Abraham descendants. I can't conceive. Hagar can, so problem solved. But trying to help God because of impatience is like eating fruit before it's ripe. You may get what you want immediately, but the taste will be better, and you'll regret not waiting for the sweetness that comes with proper timing. It's like performing surgery on yourself because the doctor is taking too long to schedule your appointment. You might solve the immediate problem, but you create bigger complications that a professional could have avoided. Sarah Wells' well-intentioned interference created generational drama. Hagar became proud and despised Sarah. Sarah became jealous and harsh towards Hagar. Abraham was caught in the middle. Ishmael grew up in conflict with Isaac. One impatient decision affected 4 generations. Sometimes our attempts to help God's plan actually hurt more than help. When we intervene out of impatience, we often trade God's later and better for our now and bitter. The lesson: when God makes a promise, He always has the means and the methods to fulfill it. Our job is to wait and trust and resist the urge to help Him out. Number 3. Think fast timing equals God's timing? Just because something doesn't happen fast doesn't mean it won't happen. Sarah waited 25 years for Isaac, but that doesn't mean God was slow. It means God's timing was perfect. Think about all the late bloomers who changed the world. Colonel Sanders was 62 when he franchised KFC. Laura Ingalls Wilder didn't publish her first Little House book until she was 65. Grandma Moses didn't start painting until she was 78 and became famous in her 80s. Julia Child was 49 when she wrote her first cookbook. Those people prove that God's timing often looks different from our timing. What we call late, God calls right on time. Sarah probably thought she was too old at 65, definitely too old at 75, and impossibly too old at 85, and ridiculously too old at 90. But God was preparing something so spectacular that it required supernatural intervention, not natural ability. Sometimes God waits until our human effort is completely impossible, so that when the miracle happens, there's no question who gets the credit. Sarah couldn't claim she conceived because she was young and fertile and trying hard. She only could point to God's power. Don't mistake God's timing for God's silence. He's not slow. He's strategic. He's not late. He's laying the foundation for something bigger than you imagine. Boy, am I preaching myself today. Number 4. Underestimate God's power in strange situations. This is the most beautiful part of Sarah's story. Never underestimate what God can do in the most bizarre circumstances. A 90-year-old woman having a baby? That's not just unlikely. It's medically impossible without divine intervention. But that's exactly what when God loves to show up in situations so strange, so impossible, so ridiculous that when the breakthrough comes, everyone knows it has to be God. Sarah's bitter, sarcastic laughter at 89 became joyful, amazed laughter at 91. He said 1 year she was going to have a son. The same woman who said, after I'm worn out and my Lord is old, will I now have the pleasure, was later saying, God has bought me laughter, and everyone who hears about this will laugh with me. God took the most impossible situation, a post-menopausal woman and a 100-year-old man, and made the most joyful outcome. He transferred Sarah's mockery into worship, her cynicism into celebration. The stranger the situation, the more room for God to show His power. The more impossible it looks, the more incredible the testimony becomes. Don't estimate what God can do when everything seems stacked against His promise. When God finally moves in your strange situation, you You won't just be blessed, you'll be laughing with pure joy at how beautifully ridiculous his faithfulness can be. Maybe you're in a Sarah season right now. Maybe you've been waiting so long for God to move that his promises sound ridiculous. Maybe you tried to help God out and create more problems than solutions. Maybe you laugh bitterly at the very idea that God still has plans for your life. Here's what Sarah teaches us. God isn't offended by our doubt-filled laughter. He's not surprised by our attempts to solve things ourselves. He's not discouraged by our biological impossibilities or our expired timelines. What God has promised is keeping his promises. What God has promised is keeping his promises when we can see how. When we can't, see how. What God is committed to keeping his promises even when we can't see how. He's determined to turn our sarcastic laughter into joyful laughter. He specializes in making the impossible so undeniably real that our cynicism becomes a celebration. Philippians 1:6 reminds us, he who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. The same God who started Sarah's story when she was young and barren was faithful to complete it when she was old and joyful. The God who began the promise to Abraham finished it through Isaac's birth. Whatever good work God has begun in your life, that dream that seems dead, that promise that feels forgotten, that calling that appears impossible, he who began it will complete it. Sarah's laughter teaches us about our doubt doesn't disqualify us from God's completion plan. The same God who gave a 90-year-old Sarah a baby, who turned bitter laughter into beautiful laughter, who kept his promise despite her doubt, the same God is still the promise-keeping business today. He's still in the promise-keeping business today. So go ahead and laugh if you need to. God can handle your doubt. But get ready for him to give you something so wonderful, so unexpected, so impossible, made possible, that your laughter of disbelief becomes laughter of pure joy. Because when God keeps his promises, the last laugh is always a laughter of celebration. He who began a good work will bring it to completion.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this character.
I don't know what we're laughing at, but I guess in all of my research, I had to look at a lot of things to figure out, things that made me laugh. And it just kind of went down a little spiral there.
Well, it's funny because, the notion of, fear of the Lord, right? Mm-hmm. And I understand it. It's more, yes, you could have an ultimate fear, like, oh my God, I'm afraid of this Most High Being. But when you break down the etymology of what the Kabbalist writers state as fear, is the perfection in nature, right?
Okay.
The awesomeness, mm-hmm. right? The blade of grass, the dog that is here in my house, like, obviously somebody created this, the tiger in the field right now.
Yeah.
The wonders of this majesty
that you're in awe of.
That you're in awe of it. That's you're almost
speechless.
You're speechless, yeah. Right? And that's, it kind of like pauses you in fear, right? Mm-hmm. Then you have Sarah laughing at this person.
But I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. You gotta have to. What I really love is like, okay, God made it like. God didn't say, you will have 12 children. You know what I mean? He said, as countless as the stars in the sky, as countless as the sands. So he already put it in a ridiculous place. He already put it in such a unfathomable, if somebody said, Sheba, you're going to have 20 kids. I'd be like, what? How? You understand what I'm saying? He didn't say, Sarah, you're going to have 10 kids. He didn't say that one son in 1 year until it was almost done. Do you understand? So like, he was already, I'm going to give you the son and a dog. Like, dude.
I mean, yeah.
But
listen,
she's in the background listening to this thing like,
But it's also a testament to the walk that Abram, when he was Abraham,
yeah,
had with the Most High. Right, to the point where he was like, okay,
yeah, Like he said, move, and he moved.
Right. And he did mock or laugh at it too.
Yeah, the first time. I mean, well.
Now, the thing is true, though. If the Most High already makes you a promise, it could be 20 years ago, but it's coming.
That's so hard for me right now. I won't even lie, because like, you know, as you get older, and I've seen like videos about this. I'm not in this situation. I'm kind of married. I have children, but I often see, you know, women say, well, by now I thought that I should have been married. I should have had a husband. I should have had my first kid by now. You know, I'm late, so to speak, to the process. Or somebody might say, by now I should have my degree, I should have been this in my field, and I should have been doing this and that. And then you have all of these kind of like limitations. Do you know what I mean? Like age limitations, this ageist kind of view. Like, oh, you know, like people start getting in shape in their 60s sometimes.
Absolutely.
Do you know? So we have, especially when we're trying to keep up with something. And I mean, it's not unreasonable for you to think 90 that something's, if it hadn't happened yet.
But when it comes now, again, right now in this timeline, we have this notion of, okay, past a certain age, it could be difficult for a woman of a certain age to be pregnant with child, right? And then raise them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Be alive.
But, and a big but.
Yeah.
Nothing is impossible to the one who created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah.
Right? Who made this, who already had the forethought to consider the science of motherhood. Right. Right? And seed growing in womb for 9 months and then conceiving. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't know if they knew about immaculate conception back then, but
obviously, well, it was coming.
Obviously, it is possible. And even in the real life, there are many stories of women past 45, past 50, in their 60s.
I actually looked that up, and I found, well, it's kind of conflicting. In the Guinness Book of World Records, they say something like 66.
66.
Somebody in the 1940s. But then I also saw this thing, maybe it's not, Guinness doesn't go to India, I don't know, but they had this woman in 2018 that she was 74 and she made twins. Now, in that first story was like some IVF thing, but in this one, I don't know if it was natural or not. You should have seen grandma laying in the bed. I was going to put it up there, but I was kind of expired on images, but oh my goodness, you should have seen her. And her husband was old too.
See, now
74.
The story is, obviously it could be, I'm going to take it to the esoteric perspective, right? And where, as you said before, it may seem that you're past a certain time to do a certain thing.
Yeah.
For conventional wisdom.
Not divine.
Not from the divine perspective, because literally, I know this to be true. Anything is possible.
And that's what the angels said when they came. They said, "Don't you know that nothing is too hard for God? Don't you know?" And she was like,
I read somewhere in my library back here that even the angels don't know what the Most High is.
Wow. But that's what I'm saying. Okay, we were talking in church about covenants and stuff like that. And they were talking about how Moses was in communication with God to the point that he was like sitting down and talking to him like a friend. Yes? And I was thinking to myself, if Moses was sitting in front of the Most High God, the creator of the earth and sea and all that there is, of you and me in the internal workings, like the things that make you fear him and make you wonder, like you were saying before. If he showed Moses 2025,
he'd probably cry.
He'd be like, what the hell are they doing? What is this cell phone? What is this? What are they instantly calling across the world? Are they flying in the air? Those things would seem crazy. Moses' mind would have been blown. So we can't imagine 2,000 years from now. We can't even say what it could have been. You understand what I mean? So how can God display these understandings to a human being anyway?
Down here, it will be considered time. It just takes time.
It takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of
More
time
than you have.
to consider like how good the remedy is that the Most High had, to the point where Sarah laughs.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's ridiculous.
It's ridiculous.
It sounds ridiculous.
But also too, I do love this story because I love the story because after a certain amount of time that has passed, Sarah took it into her own hands and said, okay,
she's like, I'm gonna help you out, God.
I heard about this promise.
I mean, don't we need some kids?
Here goes Hagar.
Yep.
It kind of reminded me of like the Eve story. You know what I mean? Like, here's this
Why?
apple.
There's always some offer. Be careful when a woman comes to offer you something. Be careful. Do you know what's crazy too? Sorry, I'm gonna get off track too much, but when you said that, it also made me think of Jacob and Esau when his mom was helping him do that deception. You know,
That's true.
He didn't do it by himself. Like, she helped him out.
That's true.
She helped him deceive his father into blessing him.
See, and then, you know, again, like, you know, we live in a patriarchal time right now, right? Where I'm sure the men in a bygone era wrote these texts and, you know, paint this lady in a not so good light. Okay. I'll leave it at that. However, I do like the fact within this story that even though she's laughing at the Most High, she's still with Abraham.
Yeah. I mean, she was rolling with him.
Mm-hmm.
They were going from land to land together. She went along with, do you know, I told you that Pharaoh story. I just say that because, like, I like the story of Pharaoh and the other story. Please forgive me for not remembering the name, but it was another king that he was going to their lands and he was like, hold up, just say that you're my sister. Let's keep things.
Because of what?
Because he was afraid he might get killed. They would find her beautiful and jealous. They were going to be jealous and beautiful and kill him and take her, right? Because they were still living in heathen lands.
Well,
they were not living in their own lands.
See, and I don't know. I have to look at this text again, and I'm sure somebody will come back. But this is why you have this blessing. This is why I invoke the blessing. The Most High will bless those that bless thee.
He said that at the beginning.
And he will curse those that curse thee.
Like, God had his back. Like, he literally was punishing and torturing the people who would take his wife.
Who though? The Most High.
Right. Not you.
Not you.
Not you.
Not you.
Yeah.
I'm always reminded of that story you told about the father who had his children, his 4 boys, and to, I guess, toughen up the younger one.
Oh, I love this story.
He allows the younger one to play fight with his brothers.
I actually got this from, oh my gosh, what's his name? Michael. It's a pastor I follow online for Rock City. That's his name. And he tells this story about how he has 4 boys, and with the 4 boys, the youngest one is like super tough, you know, so he thinks he's all big and bad and can roll with his older brothers. And somehow he's getting so confident and that he feels like he could fight his brothers. So one day, like, the older brothers get really mad and be like, hold on, this guy is acting a little too tough. I'm about to whip his butt. And his father's like, hold on, you're not supposed to do that, right? And so the older brother, who wants to, like, beat up the little brother, he's like, he says something he's not supposed to say. And he basically says, the only reason that I don't kick your butt is because Dad is telling me not to. So he thought, all this time, the little young one thought he was doing something, but really it was the dad that was telling the older ones, don't beat him up, don't hurt him.
And in this story, where some Egyptian saw Sarah was so beautiful, took her into his house, right? The Most High said, I will curse those.
He did. He said, I will bless those who bless you, and I will curse those who curse you. And do you know what I love too? Along the way, while he's doing his travels, going all the way, after that situation, do you know what Pharaoh did? Pharaoh gave him ox and all kinds of cattle to repay him for the slight. To repay him for the slight. He didn't even set that situation up. Like, when you bless, you blessed. Do you understand what I'm saying? To pay him for the slight, like, just to make sure that we're okay and that you don't send nothing else crazy to my house.
Yeah, because again,
that's why I wanted you to read the story, because there are so many, like, really fun tidbits in that story, like so many things that happen that I'm like, whoa. You know, but Sarah is watching these things too. You know, she's a part of these dramas.
Yeah, I mean,
that are unfolding.
It's interesting because, again, it's a dynamic. It's a story, but it's clear. Abraham is walking every day for his 90 years. Have some kind of communication with the Most High, right? Seeing not only these grand gestures of demonstration on his behalf, right? And sometimes he forgets. Or he
doubts.
He forgot the blessing that the Most High promised to the point he laughed about it.
He laughed because he's like at this point, he's already in his 80s. He's already in his 80s. It's not like somebody I'm 35 now and it's been 10 years since I was 25 and nothing has happened in 10 years. I mean, you waiting they said Sarah waited 25 years from the promise. Because before he was just like, I'm going to bless you, I'm going to bless you, I'm going to bless you. And then he was like, after I'm going to bless you, he's like, I'm going to make you of many nations, to the point I'm going to change your name. Then when somebody hears your name, they're going to know this guy is the patriarch of all patriarchs.
Mm-hmm.
And this lady is the matriarch of all matriarchs.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that you will not be able to count the descendants.
Now, when you take things into your own hands, try to solve your own problems.
Yeah.
Right? The enmity comes in.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's almost like she created her own telenovela.
Drama. Yeah. She is the one who made, and according to what I understand, is like that was a common practice. Like
Mm-hmm.
if the mistress or the wife was not able to conceive, it was common to like just take the servants. Like, I mean, think about it now. That's surrogacy.
Certainly.
That's surrogacy. You know what I mean? Like if you went to a sperm bank and you did that, I mean, you say, well, I can't do it, or you have a surrogate that does it for you. That's not really out of nature. So she did it the old fashioned way.
And again,
and got mad.
There's a point that you said, like, when there's people who are in league with the Most High, walking every day in the Most High,
Mm-hmm.
you really want to be close to those people, because those blessings
Collateral blessings.
Collateral blessings. And it always reminded me of that song and that story of, let me touch you to see if you will basically touch the hem of your garments so that I can be made whole, right? Because when somebody else is walking in that faith, and if you have the opportunity to be in close view of it
rubs off on you good. Like in a good way.
Absolutely.
Like in a good way. They're blessing. That's why I like the lottery story, because I feel like, everybody knows if they won the lottery, there's a certain person, man, they're going to get some too.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
They're going to get some too. When my grandfather, when I was young, like he won like $800 or something. And he gave us like $50 and all that stuff. And everybody got it like a little bit. And there's just certain people in your family, like they'll buy you a house.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? They'll buy you a car. They'll be like, ooh, I just got blessed big time. I'm going to bless you too, because I know you're my family and I love you. So you could be, on the negative end, you also have collateral damage too, that you could be in a situation.
That collateral damage came from a blessing.
Well,
just another cycle of life.
It's just another point in the story.
It's another point in the story.
It's just it depends on where you stop. And that's why I like that she even like named her son to show like God made me laugh. You know what I mean? In the point of her biggest lack of faith, where she should have been saying, yeah, of course, amen, I'm going to have a son next year. She named her, like, God surprised me.
Now, I'm sure Abraham was like, you see? Now, you see?
They were still doing something together, because it didn't happen. You can't make a baby without exercising a little faith.
You got to exercise the faith.
They went home that night and they said, we got 1 year.
But it's really to everybody, man and woman, right? Really, the Most High is real. Real. The fear of the Lord. I'm telling you, look outside in the grass, look outside at the tree. That's the one who created it.
The fact that you're watching this, the fact that your mind works, your fingers work to be pressing buttons and stuff, the coordination of what it takes just to be human in this society, and just simple things. And again,
for all the humans that you see right now, they came from a...
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Don't you love that when they say, if you... Like you have, for example, I have 4 grandparents, and then the exponentials, just going back a couple, you already have 64, going that way, millions of people who came together to put the genes together that makes you, and going down the other way too.
Yep.
Do you understand? Going down the other way. I love when I meet somebody and they're like, yeah, I was one of 12 kids. If you're one of 12 kids and each person has 2 kids, you already have 24 kids. If each of those 2 kids only have 1 or 2 kids, do you understand? Like, you are also the mother and father of many generations.
Absolutely.
You are also perpetuating this Abraham seed going on and on and on and on.
On and on.
From up to down, the tree goes.
And you know, it just literally the blessings hasn't stopped yet, right? Because, you know, I'm sure this story is a time from before we were physically living on the earth, right? And at this point, you can just claim to be a descendant of Abraham.
Yeah.
Okay. Because they're somehow connected to Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
right? Somehow connected to Isaiah.
Listen, and even the Bible first, even to the day the completion of Jesus Christ. That's how they take David and they bring him all the way to Jesus. They take all kinds of other genealogies, and that means until the day, all the way to the end and to you.
Right. And you know, I do love these stories because, you know, related from the esoteric perspective, you can kind of see this lady laughing.
Yeah.
You can just see the three men looking at her like, why is she laughing? She don't know who the Most High is.
But she wasn't even in there. She was outside in there, eavesdropping. She was like, this was not no normal situation. I wasn't even in there with them.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, I liked it.
Yeah.
I really do like it. It's a great story, and it really is a testament to don't play with the Most High. If you ask for something, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. And so and like, I mean, like I said, it doesn't, because you are not doing all the right things along the way. That's why all things work together for the good of them. Do you understand? All things work together, even the dramatic things, the drama, the lies, the deceit, the you trying to take things into your own hands, you being doubtful, you know, like it's cycles. It's a piece of a bigger story that we're all playing. Just like Elijah, we're all playing roles in this epic story. You know what I mean? And just know that your story is, you're just on one scene. You know what I mean? You're just in one scene, and there's going to be another scene that may allow you to get your promise fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean? As long as, like what you were saying at the beginning, that's what I really love. Are you preparing? Are you waiting? You know, are you waiting for something like, ooh, or are you preparing for something good that's coming your way?
That's why, you know, as we close, you know, when we do the invocations, you know, when we already saying thank you to the solution to your problems right now, right? Maybe you do want to get pregnant. It's nothing too hard for the Most High. For the Most High. All right, thank you so much, Sheba. That was invigorating. That was invigorating.
I like that word. And now our blessing.
All right, we come to this point at the end of our presentation. We always open to this notion and perspective that if you're going through something right now, if you need something right now in the material world, the physical world, or even conceptually, the answer is already there. As we just read in this story, there is nothing too hard for the Lord, right? So you might as well say thank you. So as it says in Matthew 6, right? Go into your secret place. Go ahead and tell the Most High what you need and let it be done for you in the public. So we'll just take a moment of silence to go offer up our thanks for our answers at this time. Well, again, we thank you for being with us in this presentation. We want to thank the Most High for being the Most High, always being consistent, always being loving. And until the next time, we will see you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Good job.
Wonderful.
I was nervous. This could be for the members.
What I was gonna say, okay, when you really are husband and wife, right? And you do get in situations where the husband may observe a scenario where, not necessarily favorable, but somebody's obviously looking at your wife, right? And between the two, it's not like, it's obviously that Sarah did not want to leave Abraham, right? And Abraham did not want to let go of Sarah, right? But the conditions were such, it was like, he may kill me. Yeah?
Yeah.
That's for the Most High to take care and go ahead and disrupt that situation so the husband and wife can be back together.
Wow.
Because that really is a very cosmic and divine principle, husband and wife, because that really is mother, father, and child, right? If, again, the story would not be, in my opinion, if Sarah was like, I don't want to be with him no more.
Yeah, she was sticking to him. She was trying to
Do you know what I mean?
drive or...
Now, somebody come from an army and want to take Sheba.
Yeah.
All right.
You gonna let me go like that? You gonna call me your sister?
They're gonna give me something back with the wife.
I told you. So both of them. So then she has the same story with Abimelech, and then, but in Abimelech, God comes to him. It says in the region of Gerar, Abraham again tells people that Sarah is his sister. King Abimelech takes Sarah, but God intervenes in a dream before Abimelech and touches her, warning him that he has taken a married woman.
That is a very, if people don't know in 2025, that is a very divine act.
To do what?
A marriage.
Yes.
Especially one that wants to be with the other and vice versa. And if you want to put your desire in between that.
I mean, how could God fulfill his promise if he had already said it had to be from his bowels? Did you remember?
Yes.
He said from his bowels. He said no, because at the beginning, the first time he told him he would be a father of many nations and all that stuff, he didn't have any children. And he said, oh, is it going to be my servant, this other guy that's in my household who's going to take over my things? And he said, no, it's going to come from you.
Correct.
It's going to come from you.
Because in a marriage situation, no matter the denomination, no matter the creed, the Most High has plans for them to.
Yeah.
And their generations.
And you can't even, I mean, that really makes me think about like all those power couples and stuff like that, or people who like have like really serious jobs and they have to have somebody who's supporting them. Like if you're a celebrity or if you're something like that, you can't have your own whole thing. You are step with that person.
You are step in step.
You have to be step in step.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not just what you see here on earth, right? Because the Most High works behind veils and veils and veils and veils.
Right.
That things are already lining up for these couple or these two people to go into.
Yeah.
Positive and negative to
collateral
go
blessings
blessings or collateral damage, all for this long-term narrative. That's not just for the two that you see here, but for the generations going forward.
Yeah.
Right? You're really coming in between, that's why I'm playing with married women. At all. No.
Because they have a covenant with their person. They have a covenant with, right? They have a covenant, whatever God has plans for them.
Yes.
Now you interjecting yourself into their situation.
No.
You know, Hagar ended up being